Hello everybody and welcome.
This is back-to-back episode 1.
With me, Sandy Holt.
And me, Roxanne McCarthy.
This is a new show.
Where some of Midnight's favourite guests
get the chance to chew the fat.
And ask each other questions.
Hello Roxanne.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Well, it's a long time no see.
I know.
It's been a while. In fact, let's start with, when was the last time I saw you? I know I did see you I saw you at a friend's funeral. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about that later. But prior to that, when was the last time I saw you?
I'm not sure. I am honestly not sure. It'll be years and years ago that I stepped foot into the gym. Because my mum obviously trained with you. And then she got me to come along with her. But obviously I wasn't as dedicated as she was. Because I've got all these other hobbies. So yeah, it'll be years and years.
Right, so your mum, Caroline, is she fine?
Yeah, she's good. Yeah, she is.
Brilliant. Oh, well, me and your mum go back a long way. Like you said, Thai boxing, I think, is our starting point. Mm. Last night was my first time ever. Up to yesterday, I was a Zoom virgin.
Right, wow.
Have you ever been on Zoom?
Oh, yeah, Zoom. I work from home, so it's not Zoom, it's more Teams, but one in the same, constant phone calls, backwards and forwards. Yeah, so I find it strange, and I still haven't really, obviously I've had to adapt because it's my job, but you're missing that connection and that interaction, and even just you can't see body language when you're sat behind a camera, which I really struggle with. So yeah, it's the new thing. I can't believe you've only just been on Zoom.
I know. I've been asked this many times because obviously a lot of people are doing, obviously do Thai boxing, and so people have been saying, why haven't I done online classes?
Yeah, I was wondering that as well.
I have been doing, all last year, I was doing home videos, which are Facebook Lives, and I was just giving them out free. I just felt that I didn't want to charge people. I just feel that you're sort of almost falsifying something, and I'm sort of 100% in agreement with Zoom. I'm 100% against them. So I'm sort of sat right on the fence. I think there's so many benefits to that. But online training, because you just said about that face-to-face, and you know yourself from communication that, it's something like almost 60% is body language. And, and I know you can sort of see it on a little screen this big, watching somebody doing moves from a whole body perspective. I just feel, for me, teaching someone from home and somebody in a living room, trying to throw a kick and a punch with nothing to hit. What do you do? Hit some, your cushion or something on a couch, or Yeah,
you could hold up the cushions, couldn't you? Use them as punch bags.
Yeah, I know that there's been a massive in the last 12 months. It's been the biggest shaping of the world, not just the UK. With regards to everything, for what's happened, as you've just said about your work and everything, and last night I was actually watching your show with Midnight McBride, and that's, thank you, Midnight McBride, because you brought me and Roxy together so we can have a great chat, and I'm super excited about this. So I've got that many subjects to talk to you about, and I think we're going to end up zooming, excuse the pun, in and out. I'm going to throw it back to you. So what's your first question?
Oh, God, you put me on the spot now.
Yeah.
So, what's my first question? I think it was around, do you know what made me... So, you'll have seen all my mental health thing that I did, and I know that I think there was a point, Joe, it was about halfway through mental health, and I saw that you were putting a lot about, about the mind health, and I thought, actually... I quite like that take on it, and obviously my whole campaign had gone mental health. It was like day 1, day 2. I thought, I really like Sandy's ways thinking about the mind health and taking it away from mental, and I was thinking maybe I can change my health campaign, but I thought it's too late now. So then I was thinking, well, actually you inspired me to next year, instead of mental health, to do something around mind health. Because you might, well, I don't know whether you've seen on my social media, it was very much Roxy was an elf for 31 days.
That was incredible. That is some self-discipline. So yeah, with regards to that, I love what you did with that play on words, and I think once you've got yourself like a catchphrase, or we remember these things. It's like adverts, for certain things. You like there's a jingle, isn't there? You'll hear music and straight away it relates to that subject, whatever the advert is or whatever the company or whatever that it could be HP sauce, it could be an Hyundai, it could be whatever. I don't know, but I think to do something like you did and the discipline to do it. Did you say 30 days?
31 days.
31 days.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And you know what was funny? When I was watching yours, A Midnight Show, which I thought was brilliant, by the way. I thought it was one of the best shows I've seen because it flowed so well. The subject matter and everything that you discussed. And the question that actually came in my mind just before you said it was what Midnight asked you, which was, how many outfits have you got? Surely you can't wear the same one. But why do we think like that? What's up with us? Well, you said you had like 3 outfits, of, you know, that alternating between one for the horse and, you know,
Yeah.
the smelly one, as you called it. That is, you know, that's a big subject to me, self-discipline. And I think that's something that this country lacks. And I'm going to jump onto the next subject with you, which relates to that. And you'll get it straight away what I'm going to say to you, is about, and I think self-discipline and respect go hand in hand. To me, they're the left and right hand of a human being. And when you travel, and I will say, as soon as I say it, I know that your reaction will be Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Straight away, your eyes lit up. The difference in the mindset between East and West, there is a big divide there, and it's something that we can learn a lot from. So as you said, I think your first trip was to Turkey. Whereabouts in Turkey did you go, by the way?
Good question. It was close to Dalaman. I can't think exactly where.
It doesn't matter, so yeah.
A
But
long time
the
ago.
second trip was like literally that distance again. So you was in Malaysia. Which
Malaysia.
part of Malaysia?
So we went to KL.
Kuala Lumpur?
Yeah,
I've
so
had
the
the pleasure.
capital. Yeah,
Yeah.
we stayed there, and then we did a trip out to Penang, which was amazing. It was like because the university was in, so it was KL, but it was Sunway University, and that's where we kind of stayed and partnered up with the students there, and then we went on a day trip. Well, it wasn't a day trip; it was like a weekend trip to Penang, and it was just absolutely beautiful. Like the beaches there, it was just amazing.
Is Penang on the peninsula or is it an island just off?
I think I'm pretty sure it's an island.
Right.
Yeah. And that I was blown away because obviously I've been to Turkey, but we stayed in a villa and a group of friends went. So it was more, we had a bit of a party and we did a few like excursions, but it was nothing, we didn't really see the sights that much. It was just more of like going away on holiday with your friends. And then Malaysia was just, it blew my mind because like just going somewhere that was beautiful and all these surrounded by these beautiful people, it just overwhelmed me. And I think that is what encouraged me to travel when I finished uni, because I'd got that bug inside me and I was like, wow, if I can go out there and meet all these, there must be so many more beautiful people and beautiful places. I was like, I have to go and explore them.
Yeah, you got the taste.
Yeah.
Same for myself. I understand that completely. Brilliant.
Well, there's you'll be interested in this as well. So I did go to, so my mum, I should have said this at the start. So mum has always had a passion for Muay Thai, and her dream has always been to go over to Thailand and do like a Muay Thai training camp. So during my travels, I'd not seen my mum for a long time, probably, well, it was about, I think maybe 6 months, and I said to her, I'll fly you out to Thailand and we'll do like a 2-week training camp. So booked her on the flight. She'd never travelled anywhere. She'd never travelled international. So she flew to Abu Dhabi, missed her connection flight, ended up stuck in Abu Dhabi for 2 days. We never talk about this now. Yeah, Mum should be listening to this. We never talk about this because she says it's like one
Don't
of
talk
the
about Fight Club, but
worst,
don't talk about this.
worst experiences. But anyway, when she finally got there and we did that 2-week training camp, and as you'll know from probably training out there, in the first week I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
It was absolutely brutal. We did 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours in the afternoon, and I would be sick over the side of the ring. And they said, right, have you finished now? Right, let's keep going. But after that week of that brutal, like pushing through, in the next 2 weeks, I thought, I'm starting to, like feel a lot fitter and a lot stronger. And I always say I wish I'd have done, if I'd have been there for 3 weeks, in that third week, I would have been on top form. But no, we had a great time, and it's training out there was a lot more difficult with the heat, and
incredibly different.
It's more disciplined, I think, than in the UK. Sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the capital of where it comes from. But I didn't know that. I didn't know your mum had gone to Thailand.
Yeah.
And she trained as well the whole
Yeah,
2 weeks.
she trained. She did have an injury on, I think it was her shoulder that she was injured. So that hampered her a little bit when she was there, but I'll take her back and we'll do it again.
Oh, so did you not get any downtime while you was in Thailand?
Oh, yeah, we did. We had, so we're training 2 hours in the morning, 2 hours at night, but then we were on Koh Samui. So we were on the island and we'd, I don't know, go on the beach during the day, massages, eat food and just relax. And obviously I'd not seen her for 6 months, so it was like a get back together.
And what a perfect place to do it.
I know.
In a paradise. I love Koh Samui. I've probably been about 8-9 times. I love them.
So we're on the subject of Muay Thai, and you can see that it's your passion. And why has it been your passion for so long?
That's a good question. Basically, I started martial arts when I was 15, getting bullied at school. Something that was mentioned in your Midnight McBride show that you had with him. I think a lot of people that have come from that background of having adversity in their life seem to, I don't know if conquer is the right word, but seem to, I'll use a Bolton term, crack on, get on, get up, get in, get out there and get it done. Yeah. Do something. You've got two ways. You can pass and fail, can't you? And I think when you've been bullied at school or wherever, you can get bullied late in life. You get bullied in a relationship. You get bullied at work, anywhere. I think there's a drive inside you that causes something that turns into that word of we both like, which is passion. Yeah, we're both passionate about lots of things, travel. What you do. Enjoy your work, horses that you love. And I found martial arts, and it basically changed my life. So, sort of to cut out a long story, it's the driving force inside me has stayed. It's like a candle. I believe we've all got like a candle, internal candle, and you have a flame, and that flame shines bright for something. And I've just had that one candle but it's led me to other things. It's led me to like this, and help people, which is again. We're not miles too far apart with this. Yeah. We love doing things to help other people. So it's been, and I'll quote Midnight saying, it's a platform to get us to where we want to do what we want whilst helping other people. So it's like it's sort of you're giving and receiving at the same time. Yeah. And it's helped me go, well, same subject. It's helped me travel the world because I've been able to pass on my knowledge to other people through this platform of Muay Thai. And if people wonder what mistake, because you've said it the right way, Muay Thai or Muay Thai, they say, well, what's the difference between that and Thai boxing and kickboxing? Excuse me, I'll explain it. Muay Thai is Thai word Muay, which is boxing, Thai, which is short for Thailand. But actually Thai, it translates in English as free. So if you actually, rough translation, it means free boxing. Which in Thailand, we know that Thailand boxing don't just use fists; they use elbows, knees, and kicks and everything. I like that word because Thailand has never been fully taken over. It's never been occupied by, they've had fights in Burma. It did take over the former capital of Thailand, in Sukhothai, but then they managed to kick them out. They didn't occupy the full of Thailand. So Thailand has never been overrun. So it's been a free country its whole existence. Hence the word Thailand, free land as it means. So the passion has driven me with, being bullied into doing Thai boxing for myself, becoming an instructor, becoming a champion, a fighter, now passing on that knowledge. And I think that it's sad when you've got a lot of, when you've learned something and it's been very beneficial, it's a shame to keep it. I think we should share it. Yeah. So a bit of a long answer. But,
sharing's caring.
Sharing's caring. A long answer, but that's basically, where I am with Muay Thai.
Yeah. And are you missing it with the lockdown and not being able to train, or are you still training in the background?
We're on the third sort of lockdown within the lockdowns, aren't we? And I've managed to adapt it. Plus, what I forgot, because I was doing a lot of home training, I was exercising at home, and I was doing my version of Zoom, which was just Facebook Lives at home, doing exercise. I took a couple of dumbbells home, excuse me, and I was doing sort of like fitness because, like I said, nobody's got a. Well, I say nobody. How many people do you know has got a punch bag in the living room?
Yeah.
And
Well,
how many people?
my mum has.
So yeah, your mum might have. Yeah, there's very few, isn't there?
Yeah.
And how many people where you can get, the husband all the pads for the wife, or the wife all the pads for the kids, and they're not going to do it. They're not teachers.
No.
They're students. They just want to train. So I geared it around more exercise, which is that's a big thing as well that features in Thai boxing, as you know. A lot of it is about conditioning, about your strength. Stamina, everything, flexibility, it all comes into it. It's a full workout, as you know. So I started to do these sort of online classes, helping people out. And I stayed away from the Zoom one because, like I said, I just felt it's difficult to show Thai boxing on a little screen that big, and you've only got limited space at home. You haven't got a gym.
Yeah.
But I did my first, as we said before, my first Zoom call last night, and though it's a different direction than Thai boxing, and I found it, well, it was exciting. I must admit, but I still don't know whether I would run a Zoom class. Now, again, I've gone off subject slightly, but you asked me, has it affected me? I would say yes, obviously, in the instant, but then no, because I like to think that I've adapted, improvised, and overcome.
Yeah.
By doing what we can. Everybody in summer, it was great in summer for us all because everybody got out, and nature suddenly became more apparent, don't you think?
Yeah.
We started to see more animals come out, and they did. The sky, you looked up, we saw blue sky instead of aeroplanes, with chemtrails or whatever. No fumes on the road, so people's asthma went down. There's a lot of asthma about, and I think that's a lot through pollution. And, there were birds, whistling and singing in the bushes, squirrels coming out into the garden, people were seeing foxes, deer. How many people have spotted deer? You never saw them.
And I think that is also that people open their eyes a little bit more because everything slowed down. And I know I went out cycling a lot more because I had time, because I'm quite busy. I'm always here, there and everywhere, but I just had time to slow down, and I go on my bike ride, and I started cycling wherever I went instead of going in my car. And I don't know, I felt like I was embracing, I'm quite good at embracing my surroundings anyway, but sometimes I'm going at 100 miles an hour getting from A to B that you might miss things in between. So I think the COVID has helped people just slow down, open their eyes, and then there's been other effects of it which have been quite positive actually, and I try to see the positives in everything, even though people might be struggling and but yeah, you've just got to see the positives, haven't you? And like you said, adapt and overcome, and just
improvise.
Be here and now.
Well, you've hit on the very things that we've got very similar thought patterns, and I believe, like I said, our eyes suddenly started to go more peripheral. We started to see things more. We notice things. You'd watch a butterfly and you would literally observe it rather than just, butterfly. And you'd be like transfixed, because I was. And I've never seen as many butterflies in summer as I used to do.
Yeah.
Maybe because of what you said, and I believe that as well, is that we then adjusted. Humans, we're part of nature, we're part of the earth. And I feel that, you've seen when there's been a bit of we don't really get droughts as such in the UK. We get more rain than anybody, but I noticed, because I do a lot of walking as well with my fiance and with our little dog, and we go all around the reservoirs, so we love nature. And same thing, we did bought a bike like a lot of people did. I think it's been the best thing. You've got to look at the best things that's come out of a crisis, and these are the things we're discussing and talking about now. And people became, I've no children, I'm not married, okay, I'm engaged, but I've no children. So a lot of people became more family orientated, which is how it used to be. A lot of the fakeness in society started to drift away, and falseness are the two things I can't stand, fake and false. Those are connected to fake, false, and lies, which is what, if you ask anyone, 9 out of 10 people go, I hate liars, and that's fake, that's false. But people do it. And I think the UK is the number one for the worst of those three things: for faking, for falsifying, and for lying. And those things are what help ruin the society. We're the best in the world, UK, at building somebody up. And then we're equally the best, which is really the worst, at bringing them back down.
Yeah.
They just want to see you fail. They'll
Media
raise you to the top, they'll make you a superstar. Then they want to look for flaws.
Yeah.
Then they'll start spotting, oh, look, there, they're just coming out of, we've seen them coming out of a kebab shop, or, you know what I mean, this was this fitness person, or, we've seen this model and she's got a little bit of she's put a little bit of weight on or something. Quick to pinpoint the problems. And again, this is something we talked about just a bit earlier, the difference between East and West. Southeast Asians, for me, like Thais and, wherever, Malaysia, China, wherever, Southeast Asia, the karma and, without putting any religion in here, Buddhism, which is not a religion, by the way, it's a way of life. And they've got the least amount of things, but yet they seem to be the most happy. Yeah. Does that not tell you something? The less items we carry around with us and the less, material objects we've got, somebody once said this to me, said, the bigger the house, the bigger the bills, the bigger the problems.
Yeah.
The bigger the car, the bigger the bills, the bigger the problems. And it's the same all the way through. And, we can learn so much. And I think if people could, I relate it to things like people say, I can't afford to go away like you. I've not got this, I've not got that. I'm not a millionaire. But what I don't do is I don't spend money on nonsense, on fake, false, on cigarettes, alcohol or drugs. Now, it doesn't make me better than you or anybody else on the planet. It doesn't make me holier than thou just because I don't smoke. It doesn't mean to say I'm going to live longer than anybody else either. Yeah. But I just see the price of a packet of cigarettes, times that by a year, of just say 10 or 20 cigarettes a day, and that's 3 holidays a year. Yeah. It actually is. I worked it out.
It's crazy.
And then if you look at alcohol, I'm not against it completely because, people like to have it to relax, whatever. I just think moderation. So if you cut your alcohol down, say, by 50%, and over a year, that's another holiday. Yeah. If you've got a drug habit, pack that in straight away, and that's another holiday. I know some people who spend, £50, £100 a day on drugs. Yeah. What the?
I know. You
could buy a house with that, and to me, that's what's called wasted life. So I think everyone should get the chance, if they could, and can, well, you can, let's change that word could to can. Because if you want something badly enough, you'll go and get it. Yeah. We can do anything we want in this world. You've just got to put your mind to it. You've done some, Roxanne, I've got to say, like I said, from watching your show, I know you shouldn't ask a lady, 28?
28, yeah.
How have you done so much in your 28 years? It's phenomenal. The travel, looking after horses, you've done, these jobs, relationship, everything. It's incredible. It's inspiring. And the more people that you have around you, like you, so if I was your friend, I'd be buzzing off you, because
we can be friends now.
So yeah, girl, you'll say like, what are you up to now? Yeah. And when people ask you that, it's because people say, Sandy, you're always here, you're always there. I mean, at the moment we're not, are we?
No.
We can't travel, but we've done what you said. Jump on I've got a bike now, and you started to see even more because you can travel a little bit further than you can when you're walking or running. Yeah. Unless you're, of course, Midnight McBride and you go around the world in 40 days. Legsosaurus. But yeah, it's not hard, is it? What's the cost of a bike? You can buy a second-hand bike on one of these sites, but 50 quid, £100. And that's the price of a week's of smoking. Just stop smoking for a week, buy yourself a push bike.
Yeah. And that was I think, because a lot of people, I have done all these, amazing things. And I think when just before we went into lockdown, I was meant to move across the other side of the world to Canada. We had jobs secured and everything to go over there. And 2 weeks before we were due to get on, my boyfriend was due to get on the plane and go out there, lockdown came. And obviously, and a lot of people have said, like, how do you cope with that? And I just think, well, you've got to adapt. And I've kind of seen the positives that I've spent more time with my mum. I've spent more time with my horse. Like, I've explored my local area. We're actually buying a house in my local area now because we were like, actually, what is important right now? We can't. We were taking a risk anyway to go to Canada. But now it's like, well, what is immediately important to us, and it's our family and our friends, and like I have this like inner excitement when I just sit and think about when I can actually go out with my friends. It's going to be so emotional. Honestly, it makes me emotional thinking about it, just because we've had all this time. We've connected over over Zoom and all that jazz. But to actually go to the clubs and even just sit and have a drink, I think those moments will be made even better because of COVID. And that's just one positive. We've got to look at the positives of it.
Well, that's like looking down a tunnel and looking at the light at the other end, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which a lot of people are struggling with. And if you have that mindset that you've got and I've got, is that you look now, the people say, I got asked that question. How are you so positive? How are you so happy all the time?
Yeah, I think I wrote that down actually. Are you always so positive and so happy?
Am I always?
Yeah.
Well, let's go straight to that question. Yes, I think I am. I'm going to get, no one can be happy 7 days a week. But I'm happy probably 6, which is, I think, is a good percentage.
Yeah.
And there are things that make me unhappy. I'm a human being. I have the same emotions, the same blood runs through my veins as you and everybody on the planet. But I think life and everything's about choice. We make choices. Okay, if they get, stumped on it, for example, the thing that's just happened with you with Canada, then you just, things aren't going right, go left.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or go straight.
Just keep going.
Just keep going. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And I described that, I think, last time about how my positivity is a path. As again, cliche, but we're all on a journey. We're all on a path from start to finish. The first part of the journey is we're born. The last part of the journey is we pass, we die.
Yeah.
But what about all that bit in between? That's a long bit.
Yeah, and you know what? This brings me back to when I lost my granddad, I went for counselling. And one of the things that sits with me that the woman said to me, she said, you had this map, you had your map drawn out, you were doing this and you were going here and you were going to do this. It was all drawn out and you were like, yeah, that's where I'm going to get to. And someone has took it off you, screwed it up in a ball, ripped it up and thrown it away. And she said, you are desperately trying to find this path that you were on. She said, you're not going to find it. You've got to write a new path.
Rewrite.
Like, get out your book and write a new path. And she said, set that new goal. Forget about that old path, because if you constantly dwell on that path, you're never going to move forward. You've got to write a new path. And I feel like coming back to COVID, it was like, obviously, that I would have loved to go to Canada. I love travelling. I will get back there one day. I know I will, because I've got that passion inside me. But right now, like I've got my new map, I've got a house, and I've still got a good job, and there's more other opportunities that have come in. So yeah, and that's how I kind of, you've got to keep rewriting your path and keep going forward.
That's the one. Improvise, adapt and overcome, which is what we're doing. And I think everybody needs people to be inspired by, and I'm constantly inspired by people. Just the other day, on Facebook, on a group over in Harwood, a little 4-year-old boy, and the mum took a picture of her son, and he had one of those litter pickers, those you squeeze the handle and it picks them up from it, so you don't have to touch the items. And it showed him doing this, and she put them up, and she said, I'm just proud of my little boy. I just wanted to share this on this local site, in our area. Little, whatever his name was, did this, and da-da-da, and she put the picture up, and it just went whoosh. And I thought, how nice, because the 9 out of 10 comments on there are always, they haven't come and emptied our bins, or somebody's dropped some dog poo and I stood in it the day. Pick your crap up and take it home with you. And it's the usual moan, groans, which is everyday things we do, which is standard, we all moan. And I put a comment underneath, and I just put, this is fantastic. Wow, I am inspired. And I said, it's something that I do actually. I actually do what he did. Just, like a little supermarket bag. I always have one somewhere. If you have loads in my car, and I'll just pick some, I've always got some hand sanitizer. I'll put some, as Lucas said, them gas canisters that kids are doing drugs with, does my head in. Cans of Stella, whatever, bottles, they're always over the beauty spots. So I always take a bag with me, and I always end up bringing it back with me. And Ellie always says to me, stop picking up things, it's dirty. And I said, don't mind, I've got some hand sanitizer. I said, if everybody brought one item back with them off a walk, just one, the place will be clean. Yeah. Every beauty spot, and there's some gorgeous places around in Lancashire and around Bolton and where I live and where you live. It's phenomenal countryside. Yeah. And it's spoiled by, as I've just said, those litter items. Yeah. But I basically said that I've learned something off a 4-year-old here that if he can do it, I know I was already doing it, but I was trying to say this to other people, we can all do it.
Yeah.
Because it's a mindset. You see people chucking a dirty, and I hate McDonald's, a dirty McDonald's wrapper out the window onto the floor. Oh, it's all right. The council will pick that up.
Yeah.
Well, hello. We all need re-educating. You go to these, like in Thailand, I'm saying in Malaysia, the people outside their house and outside their property and everywhere else kept it clean.
Yeah.
And if it was outside of their perimeter, they would still go and pick it up. And it's about pride, self-respect, self-control, self-discipline, self. It's not selfish. It's about awareness to yourself and doing something for you, which is then helping someone else, which is then helping the planet.
Yeah.
Because we're a planet of rubbish, aren't we? Everyone's talking about, recycling and plastic, what it's damaging the oceans. Start with you. Start now. You educate your children, parents. You go out with them. Go litter picking in your area. Inspire somebody else to do it.
Take action.
And what you did with the 31 days of mental health, ELF, which I think is amazing. I'm going to keep coming back to that. That's something that should be, taken on by the world should see that, because mental health, mind health, doesn't just happen in Bolton or Oswald-Twistle, okay, which, Midnight McBride needs to learn how to say that. He's over there somewhere. Oswald-Twistle. And which is the place, if you don't know where it is, it's between
Burnley and Blackburn.
There you go, which is in Lancashire. And it can then grow, and it ends up being an internet sensation. So like the girl...
Greta Thunberg?
I think that sounds... Was it Thunberg?
It's about,
It sounds
Greta.
about right, doesn't it? She, just a young teenager has helped change the world, hasn't she? So when they say one man or one woman can't change the world, yes, you can.
Well, that goes back to the Captain Tom thing, and this always inspires me. Like, he's 100, he's been through all this in his life, but he's still, he's able to inspire a nation, done good for the world, and that was all just him probably doing it for his own mental health and actually going out, and it's kind of rippled across the country. And it's funny, when you were talking before about the, like bad things, people fake and lies, I actually heard something quite upset me on the radio this morning, that Captain Tom had been trolled and his family had held it back from him because obviously he would have been like heartbroken that people would have said bad things, but even people are saying bad things about Captain Tom. So it just, I don't know, it just made me feel emotional, because he's like, this guy had raised a significant amount of money for charity and, inspired the world, and there's still people out there that can have bad things to say.
Well, I'm glad you just mentioned Captain Tom then, Sir Captain Tom, is that on that post that I put, I said about learning from a 4-year-old and learning from a 100-year-old, and I quoted him. I said, we can learn from the old people and we can learn from the younger people. And I said, we all got inspired by Sir Captain Tom, and now we're being inspired by this little 4-year-old boy. If he can do that, and he's walking around it wasn't just outside his house, he went down the whole street, picking litter up. And I thought, that is Colonel Captain Tom, but a 4-year-old starts, isn't he? Yeah. And we can all do something, whether it's what you did, with the mental health, whether it's, the mind health I'm doing, whether it's what, any of the two people I've just mentioned. If each person, people think, oh, I'm nobody special, I've not got skills, I'm not Roxy, I'm not Sandy, I can't do what you can do. But yes, every single person on this planet has got a skill. Yeah. My advice is simply go and find it. Find out what you're good at, follow it, capitalise on it, improvise on it, adapt with it, overcome whatever it is to do what you like. Yeah. Everybody's got a like, haven't they? And everyone's got a hate. Yeah. Hate's a bad word, like's a good word. So let's focus on the like and the good. So whatever your passion is, you follow it. I say to you, horses. You love horses. Yeah. You love travel. Yeah, you love helping people. All these are simple positives, and they're helping to change other people's perspectives and way of life. So the question you asked me earlier about why I'm always so positive is because I'm constantly being topped up with positivity. Yeah. Like yourself, seeing what you've done, seeing what you're doing, seeing where you're going. All those three things, again, are positive. Yeah. And even if you want to say, see what you've done, that's still a positive. Where's the negatives?
Yeah.
There is none.
None. No. And I think you sometimes I think, well, for me, we'll go back to mental health. I feel like the passion really came from a significant life event, which is, we mentioned at the start, Jess, our mutual friend, taking her own life, and that was the inner drive to make me be an elf for those 31 days, because I wanted to get that message out. And I think when Jess took her own life, it almost made me panic a little bit in a way about all my other friends, and started to get a bit anxious myself, and I just wanted to get that message out however I could. And I thought, being an elf, we could get that out there. And it's funny, we're sat here now. The last time I saw Jess was outside your gym. I met her in the car. She'd come back from France, and we sat in the car and we just had a chat, I think for about an hour. And she absolutely, Sandy I'm getting emotional now. She absolutely would say the most kind words about you. Like, you helped her so much. And she sat in that car outside the gym, and she just said, like, Sandy's helped me. Like, I'm doing these classes, and I know she had to rush off because she'd got one of the girls' classes that she was doing. And she just said, like, yeah, and I thought that was the last time I saw her, and I was like, she's back on the straight and narrow, and she's got Sandy by her side to help her, because obviously there's been distance, and I used to see her quite a lot when I was in Clayton, because she lived there for a while, and that's where I work, in Clayton. But yeah, she always absolutely sings your praises, that you've helped her throughout her life, because you've known her for a long time. So.
Oh, thank you. While you were saying that, then my eyes glassed over. A bit of a mantia there. So that we're both in tune emotionally, I think, with that connection with Jess. And you went to school with her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't know that. So that's the things I only learned from seeing your Midnight McBride show, that you did with him. And I was fascinated to see, how much, because obviously I know about you and I know little things, and through your mum, etc. But I don't know the whole Roxanne, story, and it's fabulous. And I think a lot of people, if you get the chance to look at your show that you did, and find out more about you and about what you've done, and everything we're talking about today will make it even more transparent. But yeah, I'm very humbled by that, because Jess did a lot for me. Let's look at what I was saying about when you give, you receive. And I've known her 12 years. I remember going to her house, having my first pole lesson the first time I met her, actually, after she did a couple of Thai boxing sessions. And her mum said, come to the house, and, we need to talk.
Yeah, I'd had a similar experience with her, that my mum had gone to her house and we'd done the pole in her house. So that resonated with me when I was watching your show and you were talking about that.
So we've got a lot of connections. And, she was 15 when I met her, 14, 15. And I was instantly attracted to that energy she gave, that positivity and the smile, the vibrant, as you mentioned in your interview about her, and you were saying that she, like us, we love colour, we're a colour thing.
Yeah.
And it gives out, it radiates, it gives something to people, even if it's only, something to like today I said to her, I like your hair. You've got a colour on it, it's vibrant, and it's not about, I got asked the question in an interview, actually, in another podcast, and somebody said, why do you do that with your hair? And I thought, and it was a direct question that I have been asked, but not been asked, and never had to sort of sit there and dissect it. And I said, well, number one, because I can. And I don't mean that in a cocky way, just like, because I've got some hair, because I know people who don't have hair, so they can't do it, they've not got a choice. I'm very lucky. So thank you, Mum and Dad, for giving me and allowing me to have her still at my age. Another thing is because I just love, like yourself, I love colour. You've got the thing with the rainbow. I had a rainbow in the back of my head. Did you see that?
Yeah. I did like that.
Colours express who we are. What do people say? Like, say on a date, they'll go, oh, what's your favourite food? What's your favourite colour? It's one of it's the top 5 questions. So why would we have...
What's your favourite colour?
What is my favourite colour?
Yeah.
All of them.
All of them.
Anything that's
that's
bright.
a good answer, that.
I haven't got one. It's like, what's your favourite... if I said to you, have you got one favourite all-time song or record? You only had to pick one, could you?
Probably.
But you struggle to have... Because what was number one for you 10 years ago would have changed 5 years ago, would have changed this year, would have changed 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because you've always got a number one at certain stages of your life that might represent something, a song that likes, you touched on it before about, when all this is over, you just want to go out and dance.
Oh yeah,
I love dance, don't I? I love dance. I actually used to, one little fact here, people, what you don't know about me. Should I reveal it?
Oh. Yeah, because they might all be, well.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw this as a question to you and everyone who's going to go out to Gwenning is, if I was to ask you, what has Sandy Holt done that would shock? Not shock as in like, I killed somebody once. What have I done something in my life that would shock you? I'll give you a little bit of a clue. Something that I've done that you could say that I've been paid to do. So it narrows it down a little bit.
Or Full Monty.
You're very hot. You're very warm. You're close. You're warm.
It involves taking your clothes off?
Not that far. You're too hot now.
Okay. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
I'll tell you.
Go on.
I was actually a podium dancer.
Oh right! Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I used to get asked all the time. We're doing Thai boxing to become a bouncer, a doorman.
Yeah.
I didn't want to do it because I didn't want to hit people. I'd do it in the ring where it is legal and if somebody's hitting you and it's done professionally and it's done under controlled conditions. But I'm not a violent man, as some people think. Oh, Thai boxing. No, I'm the opposite. I will stop a fight rather than start a fight. I will prevent a fight. I will teach people how not to fight. They'll say, well, that's not Thai boxing. Yes, it is. You're learning to defend yourself, look after yourself. And if you have to fight to survive, then there's the fight.
Yeah.
If you have to fight in the ring professionally or, it's a competition, there you go. Simple. You do not have to become, and this is something I'd like to mention while we're on that subject. 90% of people who come training with me Thai boxing I've done it for 43 years this year, 90+% do not compete or fight or want to. So why is it they've got so many people want to do it? Because of all the benefits. So anyway, why did I do the podium dancing? Because I didn't want to be a doorman.
Yeah.
My ex-partner girlfriend at the time, she was a hairdresser. She loved, I actually met her on the dance floor. So dancing's a thing that I was doing alongside of martial arts. I actually nearly, because I used to do dance competitions as well. So I nearly became a professional dancer. But martial arts was overtaking and I had to decide which path I would take.
Yeah.
So I came to one of those crossroads, yeah? And I eventually took, obviously, the one we know. But it's always been at the back end, a passion of mine. So anyway, she used to love dancing and she got spotted in a few nightclubs saying what a great dancer she was. And she did a lot of aerobics and stuff like that. That was her form of exercise. And she got asked by she got asked by the nightclub owners, would she, back in the time when they used to have podium dancers, would she dance? And she said, yeah. So she started to do it, and then they said, do you know anybody else who do it? Well, I knew a lot of people. Our Thai boxers tend to be, they've got a bit of rhythm and they've got coordination.
I'm hoping you're going to tell me that you were doing fire breathing.
No, I didn't go that far. But yeah, I ended up, doing it with her, and I got a couple of friends from my gym doing it as well, with my students.
So what kind of dancing? I'm just trying to visualise.
Club dancing.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely club dancing.
Yeah, I can imagine you break dancing actually.
No, I used to, prior to that, I was a Northern Soul dance champion, which is probably the early version of break dancing. Yeah. So a little bit of that went in there as well. But so there's some bit of interesting facts about the person who really just go around hitting people for a living. No, I did something else. So have you, on that subject, done anything unusual in all your travels because I know you've had to work while you've been travelling to sustain that because, in the countries you're in, you can't just go for free. What unique or different jobs have you done?
So I don't know whether I mentioned the camel handling on the last
Camel handling?
one. Yeah, I don't know whether I mentioned that on the last
one.
Well,
you did, but you didn't enhance on it, so let's...
Yeah, so obviously when I was travelling, we went out there with the intention to work and then move on. And when we realised Australia was so big, we thought, we'll stay in one place, work for a little bit, then move on, then kind of...
So where did you start?
That. So started in Perth.
It's nice, Perth.
Yeah, we were just working in a bar, probably not overly exciting, really.
Was this
But
by
then,
yourself or with your boyfriend?
no, this was with my best friend.
Oh, your best friend,
Yeah,
sorry.
at the time. So we went up. So yeah, started in Perth, worked in a bar for a little bit, and then we thought, oh, we're a bit fed up with that, and we went on like a road trip up the west coast, which was amazing. Did that for 3 weeks, and then we got to a place called Broome, and that was
Broome?
where Broome,
How do you spell that?
Broome. Yeah, Broome.
So it's
And
like a
that's-
broom with an E on the end.
Yeah, Broome
right,
with
got
an
it.
E on the
Yeah.
end. So that was, we got there and there was, obviously we needed to find some work. And that was when I applied to the camel handling job. And it was basically to on the Broome beach, it's quite famous for having the camels on the beach.
Do you know, I didn't know that you had camels. Oh, not you, but that Australia had camels.
Yep.
You learn
camels.
something. Every day's a school day, isn't it?
Do you know what? There's a lot of wild camels in the outback of Australia because
Wow.
I've seen when I was working as a cowgirl after the camel handling.
It just gets better, this. So let's write these down. Right, so we've got number one, cow.
Camel handler.
So what have we got? Cowgirl?
Camel handler.
Cowgirl. And we've got, what's the one? Camel, what are you called?
Camel handler.
Camel handler. Okay, all these will go on your CV, you know.
And do you know, when you first saying, have you done something unique? I've just bought myself a pair of roller skates as well. So that's my
Are they
new,
inline or as a 4?
as a 4.
Yeah, old school. Go you.
Old school retro. But it's funny, whenever I tell anybody, I said to my boss, I said, what are you doing at the weekend? I said, well, I'm going picking up my roller skates, going to get roller skating. He said, honestly, I'm not going to lie, I thought you would already have some. Like,
Right, skating girl.
skater.
Skating girl.
So-
Right, we've got a list is growing here. Do you know, you've just touched a subject there. I went through there used to be a place in Bolton, I don't know if your mum will remember it, or Midnight will remember it, it's a place called Nevada.
Oh, I've heard my
Not
mum
Nirvana,
speak.
but Nevada. It was
Yeah.
it was an all-purpose 7-day a week skating rink for roller skating.
It's not there
four
now?
wheels. No, it got knocked down. It's the Bolton Lads and Girls Club now in Bolton. And everyone was sad when I think they had a fire in it, and then they just knocked it down. It's a shame, but it was phenomenal. I know a lot of people who even met there, and married and kids and everything. In fact, one of my best friends, Punny, he met his girlfriend. In fact, I introduced him to his girlfriend, and he ended up having 3 kids with her. So, yeah. But I used to go there roller skating, and I did as much of that as I did Thai boxing.
Oh, right,
But,
wow, yeah.
Well, I was doing that as well. So actually, I think I started martial arts at the same time, and so dancing, roller skating, martial arts, all interlinked, of course.
So what you're saying is you like roller skating, and maybe because you're not currently doing Muay Thai, you might buy a pair of roller skates and come skating on car parks with me.
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. It's
Yeah.
a form of exercise,
Yeah,
isn't it?
no.
And do you know what? I didn't realise I've done it for the past 2 weekends and my body aches. I don't know whether it's because I'm tensing and, trying to stay upright, but it's quite a good workout, actually.
See, so we're going to be starting a new craze off here. And then once we become millionaires,
Yeah.
when Midnight McBride helps us become millionaires and we get some sponsors for him, and we will then, have a Nevada. Yeah.
Mind health roller skaters.
Mind health roller skating, yes.
Yeah.
And we'll open and I know that everyone will come to it because it's a massive place in Bolton and surrounding areas. People came from all over, like say in Lancashire, Manchester. They came from everywhere to it, and it was a great meeting place. You could skate on your own solo, or you could skate with a friend. Somebody could hold on to you, like you would if you were ice skating. You need that balance. And obviously on 4 wheels, it's a little bit, you're more chance of staying up than you have on an inline.
Well, what I've realised, because I did a little bit at a roller disco, and obviously you've got the side, and now I'm on car parks, you don't have anything to hold on to apart from any nearby cars. You just grab on parked cars.
Has it got a stopper on the front?
Yes, but I'm not very good. So maybe you could actually
Well, I
show
haven't done
me
it
a
for
few
years, so you might have to
things.
show me first,
Yeah,
and
this would
then
be
once
quite-
I pick a bit of confidence up, off we go.
Yeah.
So many subjects, Roxy. Some of the stuff that you've done. I mean, again, you're saying about being a cowgirl, about doing the camel handling. How did you find the difference between horses and camels? And obviously, there's a subtle difference, but was with regards to sort of handling them, I'm guessing riding them.
Yeah, so it was mainly we would get the camels ready, and then they would all be in a line, and we'd take them from the camel farm down to the beach, and then people would come and ride them. But yeah, they're a lot bigger than horses. they're slower when they're walking, but you've got to be careful because if they set off, they're fast. But these ones, they were quite tame. Very, very different. Couldn't obviously ride them like a horse. I didn't get to ride them that often because I was just, on the ground and more communicating with the customers and getting them on the camels, and out there having a nice day. But yeah.
Right. And I believe your partner, your chap, Marcus?
Yeah, Marcus.
Yeah, did he get to do the camels, or had he not met you at that stage?
No, so he hadn't come out at that stage. He then went on, he met me, where did he meet me? He met me after the camel handling and after I'd been on the cattle station first time. But we have actually been on, we've actually had, when we drove from, because we did a road trip through the middle of Australia, me and Marcus in a camper van. And this is a really good story. I like to tell this story that so we had this 6-berth camper van that they do this thing in Australia where you can relocate and they don't charge you. They just need you to get that camper van from X to Y in a certain amount of days. So we had 10 days to go from the top of Australia to the bottom, totally free. This camper van would have cost us about $9,000 if we'd have paid for it for the trip. So we set off on our journey, and we were going at the same time as this family that we'd met, and they had 4 kids, and there was the mum and the dad, and they were going down at the same time. We kept passing them, like saying hi, how are you? The Gambles family. And then when we got to the middle, in the centre of Uluru, we actually met them at the Camels. We were having a drink at the Camels, and they said, "Oh, like are you having a good time?" And it was quite nice. It was a time we paused and we could have conversation with them and get to know them a little bit better. And they said, "Oh, we were just a bit disappointed because our travel agent had told us that the camper van that we had, we returned it, but they didn't tell us that the hotel they were staying at was really far away from the rock, and they were trying to hire a car, and it was costing them like $600 for the day to hire this car. And we were like, mum and egg, and they said, "Oh, we're just a bit disappointed because we're not going to see the rock now." And I said, "Oh, right, well, we've got room in our 6-berth camper van," and probably shouldn't say this out loud because it's a bit of illegal activity, but we put the kids in so this is the next day.
So we
did the camel riding, me and Marcus and this family, and then the next day we picked them up. We put the 4 kids in the seat belts and me and Marcus in the front, and then the mum and dad, they were in the back, and we said, "Well, if we get pulled over, you're gonna have to go in the toilet and we're gonna have to pretend that they're our kids." And honestly, they were just like a really nice family, and they lived in Brisbane, and since then, so that was just funny because it was like 2 backpackers driving through Australia ends up helping out this family. We had ice pops in our fridge and we're giving them to the kids, and it was just really nice, really, really nice family. And then we ended up staying with them again when I went through Gisborne without Marcus, and Marcus has been to stay since. But like, I know that if I ever went back, we could just ring them up and say, we're passing by, and they're just genuinely nice people. Gave us the keys to the car when we stayed at the house and just let us have free rein. So yeah, it's always a nice little story that I like to tell.
And that comes with travel, doesn't it? Which is what we're saying. You meet the most amazing people in the world when you travel. And as I said, prior before we came on the show, travel really does broaden your horizons and helps you as a person grow as a human being, because you get to talk to people from different cultures. Yeah. They have different traditions, different ways of doing things. And just by observing, we've got 2 eyes facing out for a reason. Use them, look, observe. And then from there, pick up what the images you've got from your eyes into your brain, process, and then talk to people, make connections. Yeah. And because you can end up with a lifelong friend. I mean, your story about how you met, is it Lauren?
Lauren, yeah.
Yeah, who was your best friend. Well, you were sat on the plane with her going out to Malaysia, was that right? Yeah. So, you can become friends with someone, with a stranger sat on a plane. Yeah. Can suddenly be your lifelong. You could end up knowing it till the day you pass. And do you know how mad's that?
It's funny that you say plane friends, because it's a bit of a joke along people who know me that I make friends on planes all the time, just with people. I've met somebody who, and I think it's more of like, people say like, how do you just get these things? How do these things happen to you, Roxy? And I just say, like, sometimes I think, I don't know, but then when I think about it, it's because I talk to people and I engage with people, and I ended up in I'd met somebody on a plane I was in, obviously, in economy, and this guy got on the plane and he had like these crazy trousers on, and I just said like,
funky trousers.
Trousers are crazy. And then it turns out he was meant to be on a different flight in first class, and he was quite, like high up businessman in Melbourne, and he ended up letting me go into first class.
Wow,
and
joking.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
what a move.
Yeah, and another time where I've met somebody and I said, "Oh, I've not got accommodation sorted," because when you're young, you just wing it, you just arrive.
That's the
and
one.
You hope
That's the word. Wing it.
Yeah, and when I was winging it this one time, there was no places to stay, and actually I had to give this guy a call and say, "I know, but people are so like you're taking the risk, like you don't know who these people are, but do you know what? You just got to trust that people are kind that you would be." But yeah, they rang him up and said, "Can me and my boyfriend stay?" And anyway, it turns out when we turned up, he said, "Oh, I'm not going to be here, but do you mind looking after my puppy for 5 days, and I'll leave you the keys to my car and my house." And off he went to work.
Wow.
And me and Marcus just stayed in his house. Yeah, and then when he came back, we made him Sunday lunch, said thank you, and we're off on our way. So yeah, there's a lot of people I've met on planes that just
that is a brilliant
had the
story.
Conversation. I know.
Isn't it? These are things, that stuff that you see in films.
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of reality there by, these opportunities that come along. And I've got a little bit, a few stories like that, because obviously I've done a lot of travelling. I do fight commentating. So I've managed to go a lot around. I tell you what, I've had my eyes open, because I've been to Thailand 20 times. I've been to Kuala Lumpur. I've been to China. I've not been to Japan. I would love to go there.
Yeah, that's one of my questions actually. Where would you travel if, say, someone said you've got to go somewhere tomorrow? Where would you go?
Got to go, or I would like to go.
Oh, like to go that
Like
you've
to
not
go,
been.
that I've not been.
Yeah.
I think Japan, as I've just mentioned,
Yeah.
because I've never done that, and Southeast Asia is massive. It probably covers, I don't know, maybe a quarter of the globe, really, of landmass, and it's so vast. I have been to Thailand, top, bottom, left, and right, and middle. Still not been to everywhere there. You can't. I mean, if you live to 1,000 years old, I bet you couldn't see every town in the UK, every village, every street,
No.
every corner, and every hill and mountain. I know that's something people say, "Of course you could." No, you couldn't. You've got to think of how many places. There's still places in Bolton I don't know, and I've lived here all my life. I went down the street only a couple of weeks ago because of the bikes and, because of, lockdown, we've been able to walk more places. And I've gone down and I've walked around a reservoir I have never seen in Bolton before.
Yeah.
And I was like, who put that there? It's obviously been there for millennia. And I suddenly spotted it, and it was like, I didn't discover it, of course.
I had one of those reservoir moments, like,
Yeah.
where's this come from?
Yeah, where's that? Something's on shabum. Yeah. So I think Japan is one of them. New Zealand, I think, you've been, haven't you?
Yeah,
Right.
only briefly.
Briefly.
Yeah, Queenstown. But that's beautiful.
Right. There's 2 islands to New Zealand, isn't there? There's the North Island and the South Island.
Yeah.
Which has the capital on it, do you know?
North, I think.
Is it North? I think it is, isn't it?
Auckland, yeah.
Auckland?
Yeah.
Yeah. I had a Thai boxing student come to train with me from New Zealand. Now, he didn't travel from New Zealand to come to see me. Not that important. What he did was he left New Zealand, like a lot of people doing, because a lot of people leave Australia, don't they, and New Zealand to go around Europe and do things, because obviously they're on an island and it's so far away from the rest of the world, far removed. Even as much as they're beautiful and they're great, people, they want to see other parts of the world, as like we do. So, but it's a massive amount of travel for them, so that's why they'll go and they'll go, I'm going to study in whatever, in London, or I'm going to New York. They tend to do these type of things, don't they, when they go travelling. But this gentleman, his name's Brett Harold, came to the UK, and he found a job in Aberdeen, in Scotland, and he liked martial arts, so he found a local club. And a guy called, a Welsh guy actually living in Aberdeen called Pat Davis. He was the instructor, and it was like a different type of, it was almost like a mixed martial arts type place. They did Jeet Kune Do, did karate, a little bit of kickboxing, and the instructor was interested in Thai boxing. So his instructor contacted me, Pat, to come down from Aberdeen to train with me. He said, I want to enhance my Thai boxing. I know a little bit. We're a bit far out up here in Aberdeen. Could I do some training with you? So he came down, did a couple of weekends with me, which he did. And on one of the third weekend, he said, I've got a student here who's over from New Zealand. He's living here at the moment. He's working here. And he's heard of you and he wants to come and train with you. Can I bring him with me? I said, of course you can. So he comes down. He's a big strapping Kiwi lad, and he'd done rugby and stuff, so he was in good order, good shape, and he wanted to do more of the striking, the Thai boxing side. So anyways, he made it the trip a few times, and he eventually he got that. Basically, he just overtook him, and he said, "You know what? Can you find me an apartment somewhere in Bolton? I really want to do it properly."
Right, wow.
So I said, "Okay." So got him a flat, set him up. I even got him a job at the garage across from me off my gym. There's a couple of garages there. He worked there. So he literally only had 2 minutes to go to work and 2 minutes to his flat and 2 minutes to my gym. And it all worked out really well. And he ended up, I trained him up to be a fighter. He won 3 titles. He became a red armband, which is like a black belt instructor. And this was over a period of like 3 or 4 years. He did tremendous because he was really dedicated. He was in the gym like 6 days a week. Phenomenal athlete. And very receptive, because when you're hungry for something, you learn much quicker, don't you? When you want to do something, you will grab it with both hands, just as you've done with a lot of things that you've learned to do. But all the while, he had a girlfriend who lived in Aberdeen, who was actually from one of the smaller islands up towards the Outer Hebrides called Stornoway. Oh, okay. And she'd moved to get a job in Aberdeen. That's where she was living. Her parents still lived in Stornoway. So he left his girlfriend. So part of this journey as well was they were missing each other. And it's a hell of a long way to Aberdeen. It's a good 5-hour drive. So I ended up helping her get a job in Bolton. She was working at a bank. It was the Royal Bank of Scotland. They're everywhere. Yeah. So she got a job. They moved in together. And she did Thai boxing because she was doing a bit up there. They used to train together as well. And she become very good at it as well. So, but then after they'd been here for about 5-6 years, they decided he wanted to go back to his homeland. And it's a very unusual place. I'll never forget the name. And the way, you have word association. Well, a balaclava. Yeah. This is how I remember it. It's called Balclutha.
Oh, right, okay.
And I think it's on the South Island, I think. And he ended up moving back, and he went back with his partner. They're married. They've got a kid. And he runs a Thai boxing gym there now.
Oh, right, wow.
So, but I've never been.
Oh, because that would be a good link in, to see would obviously invite you with
so
open
having
arms,
a connection, whether it be, through what you do or meeting somebody on a plane. So, that's my one. So I'm going to throw that back at you because obviously, you've got this real zest for travel. What's top of your list?
It's a hard one. I've always wanted to go to Norway, and that's always been like top there. But I feel like I don't know. It's a place that I've wanted to go, and I'm not sure why. I think it's just seeing the pictures and the Northern Lights, and it just looks amazing, and the pictures. But then I'm always hesitant because I feel like I want to say I don't know what I'm saving it for, but it's like a. But maybe I should just go. Maybe that's
I think
I should just bite the bullet.
Talked yourself into it.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I mean,
actually, no. There is one, and the Borneo rainforest and Sumatra. So I'm obsessed with orangutans. I just find them fascinating, and you can go and see them in the rainforest. And Borneo is.
Well, you're not far. I mean, obviously, when you've been in Kuala Lumpur and
Malaysia,
it's
Malaysia, and I feel like the culture and the people probably be similar, and a few of my friends have been to Sumatra to do volunteering, and I think I said this to my boyfriend actually recently. I think the next time I travel, I want it to be to go out somewhere and help a cause or something, or do something good
with it
in
while
the
you're there,
world.
not just a holiday, not just sightseeing.
Explore around.
You do a bit of both, can't you? So you do. Yeah, that would be. Yeah. So there you go. That's Roxy's adventures, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, brilliant. So I think New Zealand for me, Japan. I fancy actually, is it Yellowstone Park in America?
Oh, yeah.
That's supposed to be phenomenal with the geezers and all the animals and the stuff. I see America's another one, isn't it? We sort of like put it to the one side. And, I have had the pleasure of going to America. I've actually done a seminar in New York. I've been to California and took fighters. I've been to Vegas. There's so much. I mean, America's such a big country as well. And there's so many places that you could go there, isn't there? I've not been to Norway, but I've been to Finland, and I've fought in Sweden. I've been to Sweden about 3 times, and a couple of years ago, with my partner, went with Haley to Iceland.
Oh yeah,
Went to see the Northern Lights.
Amazing.
Didn't see them.
Oh right.
Not amazing.
Sorry.
No. What amazing? No, didn't see them. Went to watch whale watching, and.
You saw whales?
No.
All right.
No whales. All we saw was everyone throwing up on the
Do
boat,
you know
including me.
That's a funny, because someone asked me the other day, what's your biggest regret? And I was struggling to think of one, because I'm quite forward thinking and I don't really look back. I don't regret it. I learn from it, and I think, you follow a certain path. But there was one time we were on the West Coast, which I said earlier, and me and Lauren, who we've already mentioned, we had money, but we were just being a bit tight, because we didn't know what the future would hold, and we didn't want to take risks unnecessarily. And there was an opportunity to go and see whale sharks. So you can snorkel with the whale sharks.
Oh,
They
wow.
are absolutely amazing.
But you didn't do
And no, we didn't do it. So they said that if you don't see the whale sharks, you can come back tomorrow. And see them and have an opportunity to see them again. It was out of season, so it wasn't likely they were going to be there anyway. And the trip that we were on, they were like, well, you have this one day, but we're leaving tomorrow, so you pay your money with the chance that you might.
Take the chance.
And we just sat there and we thought, we're not going to bother. And everybody else went, and
they
everybody else saw the whale sharks and manta rays and amazing fish, and they all had pictures to show for it. And that is one regret. But I think what I take from that is sometimes maybe just take the risk, take that leap of faith. And actually, when we reflect back, we had money, we had the time. Like, we don't really have, and we still debate over this to this day. Like, why did we not do it?
Not do that? Kicking
Yeah,
yourself.
I know.
Everyone has that, Roxy. Everyone has a regret. If you didn't, you're not human. But you learn from them, and you smile from them, and you laugh from them, and you'll know. But will just enhance your feelings next time you go somewhere and you see that opportunity. You just said earlier on, and I'm going to pick up on your point. You said about risk, and you've got that inside you. You've got this thing where if you take a risk, you take a chance. You've got a chance.
Yeah.
If you take no risk, you failed already. Mm-hmm. It's instant fail. So, I think for anyone who's watching this, if you want to take a little bit of light out of something that me and Roxy are talking about, is, don't take stupid risks. Mm-hmm. But if you take a small risk and occasionally step it up a gear, and then there will be a time when there is a big risk, but you've got to look over, I always think, like I said, for me, I've got many quotes, but life's about choices. And it comes in what you're saying, why I was positive. I choose positivity over negativity. Mm. I choose optimism over pessimism. I choose happiness over sadness. I choose health and fitness over unhealthy and not being fit. I choose healthy, good food choices over rubbishy, crappy McDonald's and, the killer of the planet. Don't get me on the subject. If you want to wind me up, how to wind Sandy up, it's just simply.
Should I not tell you that I just had a cheeseburger?
You do not tell me that. You'll be doing press ups.
Okay.
You'll be doing press ups on the table. Yeah, 25 press ups for eating
You'll
McDonald's.
have to. You take your.
Well, yeah, I don't know if anyone's noticed that, but yeah, this is my. I've never seen it. It's the world's smallest punch bag. I've not even tried it till now, so this is.
Hey, actually, maybe that might be like a challenge. How many times can you punch that bag in a minute?
Oh, so I'm going to be rushing out buying one of these now. I forget where I got it from. I think it was a little plug to Bradley Fold Garden Centre in Bolton. So yeah, so it's there situated on the front of this From Pills to Peace on Midnight McBride's book. He's now got a boxing book, so that's his next edition. Yeah.
Have you not wrote a book?
Oh, see now then, this is something. Maybe I can ask any of the viewers. I've been saying. I got interviewed for a martial arts magazine. Some really good questions. And one of them was, what have you achieved and what have you got left to do within your field?
Yeah.
It's like for me saying to you, I could throw that back at you and say, Roxy, what have you done with horses? Yeah, well, I've bred them. I've rode them. I've competed with them. Have you got anything left to do? Yes, what I would like to do is I would like to race on... at this famous race course, or I would like to do show jumping. Yeah. You've obviously got the things you've done and achieved, what you set out maybe to do, or maybe not to do. It just that's how your path took you. And I've achieved probably 90+% of what I wanted to do in martial arts. And doesn't mean though that I've learned it all. Even though I was one of my proud moments was a couple of years ago, I got my master's in Thailand. So I become a master, which I don't throw it out there to people. And I don't want people calling me master. As people in the Western culture would see as like, you know, what do you want me to bow to you, you know, subserviently? No, you don't. I'm Sandy. You know, it's just a title. It's just a level that you've attained. Once you've attained that level, you have to maintain it, and you have to keep on learning. There's never a day that you don't learn within your field. It's like me saying to you, do you know everything about horses, Roxy?
No.
No. You know, so I feel I've always got this drive to, you know, to keep improving. But one of them, and I know I've gone again a little bit around the houses as we keep doing, you asked me about a book. I said this 10 years ago, I'd like to write a book. I still haven't. And I think, obviously, the more, I could probably write a dozen books with the material
You
and
have
the
a
content.
lot of words.
There's a lot of words, a lot of descriptions, but a lot of events that have happened in my life, and a lot of things that I could talk about, and that for people could possibly, hopefully, you know, they would read it. But yeah, that's something. I would love to find I don't know if they call it a ghostwriter, because I'm not a writer. I can talk, as you know, we can both do that. I can put it down in words to a degree, but it's whether I've got the physical time to do the two and then get someone to, you know, produce that book and write it and, you know, print it and do all the other stuff. But I would love to. And I don't know which way it would go, because, like I said, I could I could certainly do a book on Thai boxing, but that's a limited audience. I could do a book on, you know, just basically the experiences that I've had, and, you know, the things we've touched on with mind health, touched on about things where, you know, places that, you know, dark places we've been in our lives where, you know, we've had problems, where we've lost people, you have, I have, how you've dealt with that. You know, and obviously you know, the great experiences, you know, the things that you have done and can do. So yeah, that is something that I would love to do, and that is to write a book. Well, Roxy, this has been absolutely fantastic. It's gone so quickly. I think, I mean, there's so many questions I didn't ask you. We've just been chatting away, having a good time. There's so much more I want to explore and find out a little bit about other things you've done and things you're doing and what's next. You know, we touched on the mental health, mind health, okay, and what will be next. But I'd love to do another show with you. This has been absolutely fantastic, and thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think, same to you, thank you. I know I've seen you a lot on social media, and it's just been good to connect. We've got so much in common. I feel like you've inspired me. I almost sit here and think, I really want to go back to Thai boxing, because I kind of dip in and out of it. And I think during lockdown, I've put on a bit of weight, so that'll need to come off to get my beach body back. So, you know, what's better way, Thai boxing? My mum's always wanted me to fight. She's always said, I don't know whether she's just biased, but she's, oh, you're really good, you could fight. I don't know whether she's trying to just live vicariously through me, who knows. But anyway, I would like to come back to your gym if possible when that time comes. And yeah, thanks for inspiring me. I know I always see your videos and the positivity and the energy, and it's just amazing. So please keep that up and keep being you. Please get a rainbow again in the back of your hair when you can do. And yeah, keep your hair. It's wonderful.
Oh, bless you. Honestly, I'm humbled. You know, definitely have to do another one, because, you know, yes to all your questions about coming back training and everything. So it's been absolutely fantastic. Thanks for watching, everyone.
I hope you have a good week.
And we'll see you very soon.
Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom.